Welcome back to the Film Cynics. Steve and Brian sitting in on a Sunday afternoon talking about movies, television, and pop culture. If you want to join in on the discussion, we'd love to hear from you. You can call us at 250-386-1161 or star 1070 on your cell. Or you can come and visit our website. That's thefilmcynics.com. We got reviews, we've got videos, we've got trailers, we've got all kinds of hodgepodge of stuff. And if you go on to the blog, so that's the filmcynics.com/blog, you can scroll down a wee bit and you'll find my top 5 from last week, and that's top 5 movie mentors / masters. And now it was sort of unintentional. It just sort of happened like that they're all in a way kind of martial arts related.
But that's usually the genre whichever it falls.
Yeah, I mean, some people did complain that I didn't put Mickey from Rocky in there, and I do apologize. But all
right. Okay,
we all like him.
It's an interesting topic because it is a very common theme throughout movies is having the mentor teach the mentee.
Yes.
And what would your number 5 on that list be?
Okay, so I decided to do the list inspired by this particular character because he's not actually that big in the whole pop culture realm compared to these other guys. But Shifu, Master Shifu from in Kung Fu Panda, he was played by Dustin Hoffman. Yeah. So he's actually himself a red panda. So I don't know why he was so against this panda. I think the red pandas are racist against the black and white pandas.
Is he a panda bear? He's like tiny.
Yeah, he's a rare red panda. So they're actually a little more cat-like. Well, panda bears aren't even actually bears, right? Really? The panda bears are actually they're more closely related to cats than bears.
Huh? Interesting.
Live and learn. So yeah, I really liked him. My favorite thing about him was the fact that he figured out the cool Zen way to teach the big overweight idiot Po how to do Kung Fu, and that's by reaching him through something that he was very good at, because he wasn't necessarily very good at Kung Fu, but he was great at eating.
Yeah. And
so he found a way to reach him through his stomach, and therefore was able to reach his soul or his chi or whatever and teach him.
Isn't that a lot of a common theme, though, with these teaching movies, is that they find the way to teach? It's not just you have a set way. It's like each student has their own way of learning.
Yes.
You gotta figure that out with each character.
Exactly.
Okay, number 4. I'm not familiar with this one. I've never seen this series.
Juan Sanchez Villalobos Ramirez from he's got his name sounds very Spanish, but he's actually Egyptian. He's played by Sean Connery in Highlander. A lot of people as time goes by, people are not familiar with Highlander. It is a 1986 movie, but it spawned several sequels and at least 2, possibly 3 TV series.
Really?
There was Highlander and Highlander the Raven, and I think there might even been another Highlander show. But yeah, and there were like 3 or 4 movies, if I'm not mistaken.
I've never seen a Highlander movie.
Man, let me give you the gist. So, that's just crazy. But, it basically centers on this guy, Connor MacLeod, who was born in the Highlands of Scotland way long time ago, 500 years ago, I believe, and he can't die. He got run through once, and then he came back to life, and he will never die until his head gets cut off. Meanwhile, there's all kinds of other immortal guys who are running around chopping off heads, and they're trying to be the last one alive. There can be only one. But yeah, Ramirez comes along, and it's a Scottish guy playing an Egyptian, opposite a French guy playing a Scottish guy, and he teaches him how to be a swordsman and how not to lose his head. And they sort of form this great, more like brotherhoody kind of bond rather than a father and son bond, which you generally see in a mentor. But yeah, really fun. It was one of my favorite Connery 80s roles of Connery.
Interesting. Would you recommend this as a movie for me to watch?
It's a cult classic, so yes, I would. It's actually very well done. The editing, the way it's all strung together, I really liked. It's all good.
Cool. I'll have to check that out. Okay, moving along on the list, number 3, very, very interesting.
Yeah, Keisuke Miyagi, otherwise known as Mr. Miyagi from The Karate Kid. I couldn't even believe that I'd written down everybody, including guys who didn't even make this list, and I still hadn't even come up with Miyagi at all.
Really?
And I'm like, well, Mr. Miyagi's got to be in there. Wax on, wax off, the whole deal. And there he goes. Number 3, master of Goju Ryu Karate. Apparently, he's supposed to, the way I read it up, he's actually supposed to theoretically be related to the guy who actually invented Goju Ryu Karate. Right. This guy Miyagi who went to China, learned some moves, brought it back to Japan, to Okinawa, and created karate.
Interesting.
His favorite way of teaching Daniel how to do karate was to get him to do a lot of chores around the house, sand the floor, paint the fence, wax on, wax the car. So in doing so, he learned to do all these blocking moves. And apparently that's how they're able to call the new Karate Kid the Karate Kid, even though it's all about kung fu and it takes place in China. But apparently the way that he gets taught is similar. You know, do a lot of menial tasks over and over again, and eventually you'll get good at martial arts.
The new one starring
Jaden Smith and Jackie Chan.
Which it seems kind of fitting to redo the genre and have Jackie Chan in the teaching role as opposed to being the guy.
I'm just offended that Japanese and Chinese are apparently interchangeable. Like, hey, you know, they're all from over that part of the world. Whatever, we can just do the switcheroo. Nobody cares. So I am actually not cool with it, but I'm sure people will enjoy it.
It'll probably do pretty good.